From Radio DePaul, Chicago's college connection.
My father spent 3 years restoring this car. It is his love. It is his passion.
I have an unnatural passion for rocks.
I learned to feel things I'd never felt before. Love, jealousy, passion for disemboweling.
Look at all the passion on that wall.
Well, jazz flute has always been a small passion of mine.
It's a bathroom.
It's not just a bathroom, David. It's a passion project.
My passion project. Destroying someone else's passion project.
This is Passion Project with your host, Peyton Baisden.
Truer words, my friend. Truer words. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Passion Project. Today, we're back with one of our most passionate projects to date. I was looking through my Instagram DMs before this, and I was trying to recall what the viewers submitted name for the fan base should be, and it was Passionators. So if we're rocking with that, let me know in the comments on Instagram. Send me a DM if you're a real Passionator. But let's get into the episode. A new episode, new week, new episode, which means a new guest, a very special one at that. Hello and welcome. Who am I here with?
Well, first of all, I think the name for the fan base should be the PPers. I think that's like
go-to.
But my name's Marcus.
PPers is now in strong contention. DM us are you a PPer or a Passionator? We would love to know. Hello, Marcus. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Let's get into it.
I'm from like around where Peyton is from. We've been friends for quite a while. We live right down the street from each other. I go to Carthage with Firebirds, and I'm here to talk about identity as my passion project or my topic.
Heck yeah. That couldn't be more true. We had a series of exciting adventures today.
Oh yeah.
We played a lot of the hit game Multiverses, which we have strong opinions about.
Yeah.
We got some good food, and on the journey here, we found this pin of the Pokemon Blaziken in its mega form.
Yeah, that was the first thing that we found today.
Yeah, which is really cool. If you can see that on camera. And for our audio listeners, he's a anthropomorphic flaming bird. He's pretty cool. Now we have him as a pin. So things are looking good. We're quite fortunate. Speaking of fortunate, we're very fortunate to have you here today. I'm very grateful that you're here, and you're here to talk about what I think is a very interesting and also simultaneously very important topic of identity. So let's get into it. Let's dig around. Let's see what we can come up with. Identity. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? How do you?
Sure.
Yeah.
To me, I just think it's what I show to the world and like who I am and how I display myself. Really, I think everyone has their own identity like in their head. Sometimes it doesn't correlate to what they want to show to the world, and I think that's interesting. But we all have it. We all display it in some way.
I think that's very interesting. Yeah, it's I find it's something that is very ethereal, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to really. It changes constantly. And there's so much intersubjectivity because you identify yourself in certain ways, but then sometimes like people will look at you or people will like make those choices for you, which is interesting.
Yeah, and like there can be like a lot of labels that come for some people that like identify in a certain way, like looks a certain way, and so it can kind of corral them into a certain situation where they feel like they don't want to be a part of that, or like they don't want for that to be their identity, and it can be disheartening at times. And I think it takes a lot of courage and takes a lot of effort for somebody to be comfortable with their identity and fully display it and express it how they want to.
Yeah, totally. How do you find you express your identity, or how have you come into the identity that you have today?
Right. It's taken like a lot of self-reflection. I've definitely had to think about like where I want to be in the future or how I want to act, like how I acted in the past, what I can change to like grow and become better. That's what I've been aiming for like for quite a while, like these past few years, is just trying to improve myself in any way possible, listen to the feedback and really grow. because I think if you like fast forward a year from today, right, and you're the same person that you are, I personally think that's a problem, because there's always a way that you can grow and change yourself. And growing up, I mean, my identity is like on my skin, and that's for everybody too. But especially growing up like in like a majority white suburb, it's definitely taken a while to get used to like I'm different, and that'll always be the case. Well, like especially like living out here in like the Midwest, and it was definitely tough growing up like that. But now that like I'm older, and I have like many ways to express myself and many ways to communicate with other people like me, I'm like proud to be who I am, and I will always be proud of my identity.
Right. That's fantastic. That's beautiful. How what would you say, like how, give us like, what do you think are like the pillars, I guess you could say, of your identity? Like it could be as big as anything or like as small as anything.
Right.
Like,
sure. I mean, I'll take it like, I'll give a few. Like, I'm really into music. I love music. I've always loved it, like growing up. Like if I was sitting at some table like in school, I'd be tapping my finger down, trying to tap out a rhythm. We were in band together.
We were.
I was drumline section leader. You were the drum major. And again, my skin color. And even like my sexuality as well. Like I make it pretty open that like I am heterosexual. So I wear that everywhere. Like I wear my identity everywhere I go.
Totally. How do you think like I guess identities form and can change? Like did you find, like, especially let's say the jump from high school to college, how did that like affect the way you I guess came into your own identity, or like what parts of you chose to put more on display, or like? Sure.
Yeah. Moving into college from high school, it was definitely a bit of a shift. I mean, I go to a smaller school, Carthage, like the classes are still small. So like I'm still able to like have a voice and like talk in my classes, which I really like. And so I think that definitely stuck with me moving from high school to college. But other than that, I think in college, I'm more focused on my academics, and like I actually have a genuine passion for what I'm learning. So I definitely put like more of an emphasis on getting to class and like doing my work, studying, stuff like that. Right.
And then I guess as opposed to high school, did you feel like you were pressured? Because I think the thing, college, there's so many freedoms, which I think is really nice and really allows you to discover like who you are, who you want to be. You can find certain things where you feel comfortable, and like that's so much of identity. Developing that is like finding your spaces, finding those things. But like in a place like high school, did you find yourself like changing or modifying like what you did, or like, because there's a lot less choice involved?
Right. Yeah. I think in high school, the biggest thing for me, it took a while for me to like find a friend group that like I could just stick with and just be myself around. Because a lot of the times I just felt that the friend groups that I like be hanging out with like freshman year or sophomore year of high school, like I could fit in with them, but I didn't think that we could connect with each other.
Right.
And when I found like that friend group like near the end of sophomore year, like we still all talk to each other to this day. I'm gonna text them like after this. And like it's with people that I can fully be authentic with, and I think that's so important, really. Like being as genuine and authentic as you can. And when you find the people that are really able to like make you feel comfortable with who you are, I think you need to stay with those people like forever.
I agree. How did another more parts of identity I guess is more outward expression, but like physically, like you can do a lot of different stuff. Like you're rocking the fit today.
Yeah,
it's fire. Yeah. Shout out Carthage Firebirds on the hat. How did you come into, like, I guess style is a large part of that?
Oh, for sure. Honestly, I don't know. I've never been like when I was younger, I never really liked jeans. I don't have a pair of jeans like at all, like in my closet whatsoever. I've been rocking athleisure for so long because I've always liked the comfortable like aspect to it, because I don't know, Jeans just feel like too tight sometimes.
Right.
I can rock a nice khaki like for the occasion, like a polo, or something like that. We were talking about that. Polos are nice.
Yeah.
But my style, it's just always trying to be based off of like comfort and like really sticking with like the color color coordination. So
Yeah, because you got the all black going, but then like the red highlights.
yes, yeah,
White accents.
yeah.
It goes hard.
Thank you.
Let,
Thank you.
let me say.
No stylist. No
Yeah.
stylist.
For the audio listeners, you take my word on this one. What have you found? I guess to be the most important thing, or like the most helpful thing for you to find yourself in new places or spaces.
Definitely quality time. Like really sit and think with yourself. Like I think boredom can be used to like either get better at something, like practice something, or even just take time to think and like where you want to go. Because a lot of the times to find yourself, you got to know yourself.
Right.
And you got to spend time with yourself. You got to spend time with yourself away from everybody, and you have to be comfortable with being alone. I think that's how you really start to develop, like being comfortable with yourself and like making it easier to express yourself because you know who you are and you're not as lost. And when you go out in public, I mean, like you really don't like think about other people and you just are yourself. You exist.
Right. Through that self-reflection, did you make any discoveries that sort of like changed the way you interacted with people? I know like there were moments where I was in relationships with just like friends or people where I like it took a while and I sat down and I looked at the behavior and I'm like, wow, that was wild.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think back in high school, the main thing, I was really blunt. I was really crass. I really like let anything fly out of my mouth. And the biggest thing that like I've learned growing up is that words mean a lot, and people remember a lot of the things that you say. Like like for the most part, it's mostly like jokes that I've made in the past, right? People would bring it up. I'm like, wow, I don't even know how you remember that because I don't remember saying that at all, right? But like, just imagine like some of the stuff that like I said that like probably hurt somebody, and that stuck with them even worse. And like I really do like I feel bad about it, and so I've been definitely trying to really be more considerate and more meaningful with what I'm saying, so I can actually remember it and be proud of what I'm saying.
Right. I guess through your journey, have you? There's a lot of debate, like in the great moral philosophical arc of the universe. Like, is human change possible? Do you?
100%.
Would you like to speak on like what does change look like to you, and is that linked with identity? And
right. Okay. What change looks like to me, I mean, it can show up in so many ways. I mean, like my appetite, for example, like what I want to have for dinner compared to the next day. I mean, it could be changed. And like some things I could like a year ago and I don't like it now. But change can show up in many ways, like in how people carry themselves. And like I've witnessed change in so many people like over the years. Like I've seen change in you. I've seen change in like my friends back at home and everything like that. And it's like little stuff. You can, when you see it, it sticks out to you because you're like, oh, like that's interesting, or they seem different. Right. And sometimes you can't really put a finger to it, but I feel like a lot of people can notice and pick up on it. And I think that as humans, I think we have like almost infinite amount of change. And there's that, like the sky's the limit, really.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Because I feel often we get caught up in the patterns that we live every day, and sort of the boxes that we feel like we're stuck inside, be it by ourselves, by society, by other people, and it sometimes makes that seem impossible. But I think it's important to recognize that every day is different. Like every single day we do something different.
100%.
Which is crazy and fascinating and like interesting that there's so much possibility.
Yeah, and it's also interesting too because it's almost like a yin and yang situation of like a balance where like every day can feel like the same, and like behaviors are repetitive, there's repetition to it, but it's always different in like some sort of way. And I think that the way that links to identity is how we can be very individual and be very unique in a certain way, but also share very similar features or like very similar like activities, stuff like that. Like we were talking about this a little bit, but like for example, we like some of the similar games, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I like a certain combination of games or like a certain combination of like genres that are strictly unique to me. And I believe that I'm like the only person in the world that has those certain like combinations or certain what's the word I'm looking for?
It's like a blend, like just everything coming together to make you. We were talking today, like you were talking about how awesome Fallout New Vegas was, and I've never touched it. And like we were playing games. I don't know if you've ever played like some of the games we played today. You don't play Fortnite.
I don't play Fortnite at all.
I play Fortnite every day.
Right.
So, and I guess that sort of like individuality, like there will never be another you.
Yeah.
Which is really cool and interesting.
Yeah.
And also like wild to me that like you are the only Marcus to ever be, in the way that you are. How do you think that you can use that individuality, I guess, to make the world a better place, or like to interact with your environment? Like, how do you, and I guess like linking it back to identity, how do you make that one Marcus the person that he is right now?
Sure. I mean, I think it can be used in your environment to like really uplift people, because I think a lot of people don't realize how individual they are and how unique they are and how much value they bring. Because again, they're the only person, like they're the only themselves. You know what I mean? Like you're the only Peyton, right? And out of like everything in this world, like all like the stars, cosmos, everything like that, you're the only you, and that is very important because we all can make a difference. And it really starts with yourself. Like, what do you want to see change? What do you want to do? And I feel like people sometimes like neglect that fact that they have so much power to themselves, and I understand, because it can get like clouded and mixed up, and you can really start to think like, wow, like this whole system, like where do I start? Where do I begin? Right. And I think it really starts by looking at yourself and addressing what you can change first, and then going up from there. Right.
I found that to be a very beautiful way to like connect with people, because we are both individuals, but we share a lot of experience. We grew up like 200 feet from each other, right? Like we lived like those parallel lives, I guess, up until this point, and we share a lot of different things. We did band together. We live in the same neighborhood. We went to the same school. We saw each other like every day for 4 years, which was beyond 4 years, because that was most of our lives, which I think is interesting. But also we are so vastly different. Like as individuals, and we do very different things, but like finding I guess within your identity the parts that make up of that, and like using that to connect with other people, I think is really beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you think or anticipate your identity may change in the future?
I mean, I have aspirations for law school. I've heard that law school is a whole different beast than like college and undergrad. I've thought about it a lot, honestly, especially given what sort of like law I want to go to. Because obviously I want to make some money, you know, because I want to go to travel.
Yeah,
I want to be like a lucrative aspect of law. But a lot of the times I'm like thinking like, okay, but like, how can I make all this money but not be in a corrupt side of the system? And like, how can I use the money that I'm gaining, or like the status that I'm in, to change something? Right. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they get off to law school, or like they start, interviewing for certain law firms, so want to go into a certain law, right? They start to become a cog in the system, and they just keep it turning, and they don't try and break it. Even though, like, if you're paying attention to like half the classes that we're in, you can see like the injustices that is in our system. And if you consciously make the decision to not try and change that or advocate for that change, I think you are kind of messed up in the head. Right. You just want to go along with this immorality just so you can get money. Right. So that's
and that's definitely really difficult. We live in a society, lots of we can do a whole other episode on the justice system and how okay it is.
Oh yeah. I did a whole presentation of prosecutorial misconduct and a research paper on it. So.
Dang. Do you find that change mostly comes from internal or like external factors, or perhaps a mixture of both?
It's definitely a mixture of both because I mean, you think of, like, for example, like civil rights movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the figureheads, like you have Malcolm X, you have Martin Luther King Jr., you have Rosa Parks, you have Harriet Tubman, stuff like that, right? And those people are like the figureheads because they stood up and they were like recognized for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was also what they were doing as people to like help change and make a change somewhere. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely a mixture of both because a lot of people look up to other people. Like I have role models in my life. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
And we like how they carry themselves or how they talk, you know. And I think that's how change has really started. It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you have learned in your journey in discovering yourself, and as you continue to discover yourself, that you'd want to share? Like, I guess any landmark lessons or like thoughts?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, like when I was younger, toxic masculinity. I mean, that's how my dad began raising me, and I was taught to like not really show my emotions or like express those emotions. And for a while, I mean, I didn't know anything different, right? And it took like me being at like my lowest point and being like I have to cry and just get it all out for me to really start to be comfortable with being vulnerable with other people and expressing myself freely. And once you do that, I mean, like it's like a new life. Like it really feels like I'm reborn again, basically. Like I'm finally living because those sad times make the good times even better.
Right.
It makes it way better.
That's very real. One of my favorite things about spending time with you is I think you are a fantastic listener, and like it's really great to level with you, and I feel like you're incredibly emotionally available. And it's great. It's always great spending time with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a blast today.
we played a lot.
I had a blast.
We played a
Shaggy
lot of multiverses.
Marvin's Room.
Shout out Marvin's Room and this pin. Any strong thoughts, feelings, opinions as we're closing out our time here?
Oh man, it's already time.
Yeah, it flies. It flies.
It really flew. Take care of yourself. That's for everybody. Take care of yourself. Sit with yourself. Do self-reflection. See where you want to be in like 5 years maybe. If 5 years is too much, think of 1 year. If 1 year is too much, think of a month. Think of a week. Think of a day. Just have goals for yourself. Be realistic with your goals, and care for yourself.
I feel. What does self-care look like for you? What's your favorite like self-care activity?
Oh, for sure. A lot of the times I just go up to the lake. Like in Kenosha, I walk the beach. I listen to music. I listen to city pop. Tatsuya Yamashita, one of my favorites. I like play video games, or really, I like to drive. My car's getting fixed right now. It's been rough.
Are you still driving the same one?
Yeah, the Toyota Highlander
Classic.
too.
It's a good one.
It's really rough because like I love driving so much. I really think that like I gained my freedom when I was able to drive, and like it became like a whole new person. That's like a whole different topic though. But I love to just go on drives and listen to music, windows rolled down. That's my calm. That's my peace.
Awesome. Marcus, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah,
it's been
thanks
fantastic.
for having me.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you, audience, for listening. Shout out PPers.
PPers.
That's what we're doing. Guys, this is going to be our last episode, I think, for a little bit.
Season finale.
So I hope you enjoyed.
Be back for what, season 3?
I think it's 4 now. We're on,
Oh.
Four's coming up. Hopefully next fall.
4. Okay, so yeah, PPers be out season 4.
Yeah, it'll be great. And I hope to see you there. But as always, I'm Peyton. Thank you again to Marcus.
Thank you.
And I'll catch you on the flip side.
PPers out.
PP out. Nice.
That was a hit.
Nice.
That was a hit.
Nice.
That was definitely a hit.
The stop for Radio DePaul.
PPers